Hello, I'm Dr. Larkin Sanders, and I am the Applied Clarinet Professor here at Washburn University. Today I'm going to be performing and telling you about the bass clarinet excerpts for the Kansas All-District and All-State auditions. The first excerpt on the list is from The Water Goblin by Antonin Dvorak. This piece is all about slow lyricism. It may look really simple, but you really got to make sure that you're counting because it is so slow. In fact, I clocked in the recording for your reference at about 44 beats per minute, which in my opinion is way too slow for our little human brains to count. So I recommend putting your metronome on 88 beats per minute or something around there, and use that as your eighth note pulse to make sure that all these notes are exactly the correct length. We also have one really long phrase in this excerpt. The last phrase, you should be able to play it on one breath. But if you need an emergency breath, I have one written in for you in my reference PDF. The next excerpt is from Lincolnshire Posy by Percy Grainger, the Rufford Park Poachers movement. It looks really intimidating when you first look at it because you immediately start in 5/8, and counting 5/8 is scary. Oh, but then it changes to 4/8, and eventually you go to 3/4. Do not worry about this. All you need to do is subdivide it into eighth notes. That is what the judges are going to be listening most for, is that your rhythm is correct. They also want to hear you play with lyricism and beauty of sound, but rhythm is where it's at with this excerpt. So if you're counting in eighth notes, you don't have to worry about the time changes because the eighth note is the common denominator throughout this entire excerpt. So make sure that your quarter notes are getting 2 clicks. Dotted quarter note is getting 3 clicks. And that 2 16th notes are fitting in 1 click of your metronome. You can refer to the image of my personal copy on this video to see where I have marked where all the clicks land throughout the excerpt. The next excerpt on this list is from Paul Hindemith's Symphony in B-flat, the first movement. The most important part of this excerpt is the articulation. It needs to be crisp and it also needs to be fast. I clocked in the reference recordings metronome marking at half note equals 92. I really recommend learning how to play this with a quarter note subdivision so that everything is in exactly the right place and you're not forcing yourself to do something that's way too fast. Another really important thing is remember that in clarinet articulation, there is only one type of articulation. Don't worry about playing anything short because shortness will come with speed. Rather, focus on keeping a consistent stream of air that even while you're articulating, the air is continuing to flow through the instrument. The next excerpt is from Grainger's Molly on the Shore. This one is super fun. It's a really fun Irish reel. I hope you get to play this in band someday. So the most important thing about this is your technical agility and your articulation. So the judges are going to be listening to make sure you've gotten all the right notes and that you're playing with good articulation, that you're using the accents, you're doing the slurs, you're tonguing where you're supposed to, and that your fingers are moving fast. So be patient with yourself, start slow, and work your way up in speed. The next excerpt on this list is an etude by Carl Behrman. This excerpt was a real challenge for me, actually, because it's really long and there's no place to breathe. Further, the technique is not incredibly simple because this etude is in C minor. It says E flat major, but this part of it is in C minor. So I recommend spending a little bit of time with your C minor scales to get acquainted with this. I am able to play this whole etude excerpt in one breath if I play it at quarter note equals 108 as suggested by the editor of this packet, but you may need an extra breath, and please refer to the image of this excerpt on the video where I have a breath mark written in parentheses, and that is a great place to breathe if you find yourself needing your breath throughout this excerpt. And of course, make good pinky choices. Sometimes you might be tempted to slide across your pinky keys, but that is not the way. We really need to make sure that if we have multiple pinky keys in a row that we're alternating between the left hand and right hand side. Again, you'll see in the image which pinky you should use and when. The final etude in this packet is from 22 Etudes by Johann Müller, number 11. And really, this etude is about your fast fingers. Something I find difficult about this etude is that there are intervals at unexpected places. So in my copy, I made it a point to circle where the interval is larger than a step, just to keep my eyes moving and to remember when the pattern changes. I'm really good at falling into a pattern and a sequence, so when there's a disruption in the sequence, I need to draw my eyes to it, which is why I've circled it. So pay attention to those, watch out for the accidental changes, because this is in D minor, so we're going to see C sharps and C naturals and B flats. I don't think we have any B naturals throughout, and then the E flat right at the end because we're moving to G minor. So watch out for all the little details, and don't rush yourself into playing anything too fast. Start slow and work up your speed over time. Thanks so much for watching this tutorial on the bass clarinet excerpts for the Kansas All District and All State Auditions, Cycle 2. I'm Larkin Sanders. I am the clarinet professor here at Washburn University. I would love to meet you sometime. If you're interested in the school, please contact me at larkin.sanders@washburn.edu to set up a complimentary lesson or to set up a time to come and tour the campus or sitting band or do something else that's fun and musical.